I've been keeping busy, folks. If I'm not in the garage wrenching on something, I'm probably out hunting for the next project. And guess what? Today one popped up, an old Dodge Ram, even older than the ones I usually find. I'm currently working on a Chevrolet G30, but I couldn't resist this one. We hit the road towards Sanhe early this morning, too early to grab breakfast properly. So yeah, by the time we got to Base Sanxian, I was starving. Had to grab a local meat pie. Man, it hit the spot. Nothing like good food before a good find. When we got to the place, it was sitting right there in the yard, beside a 350. From the front, they almost looked like twins. But this one, it had a story to tell. The door was jammed. It felt like it wanted to open, but it was stuck, like it had been waiting too long. The last time someone tried opening it, it didn't spring back out. You could feel the latch try, but it just wouldn't budge. Classic case of a machine forgotten. Inside, the seat was still there, intact, but one of the straps was torn. The cushion was a bit off. Nothing beyond fixing. It's all part of the charm. We agreed on a price with the owner, 7,500 yen, about $1,000. Not bad for a piece of 80s muscle van history. Big, boxy, with red interior. Exactly my vibe. So we loaded her up and hit the road back home. That's how I brought home an old Dodao Chivan, 2 meters of stubborn steel and soul. She's rough, she's rusty, but man, I love her already. I picked up this old Dodge from the 80s for just 7,500 yen, basically scrap metal price. Yeah, the rear was banged up, but for that price, it felt like a steal. Or so I thought. At first glance, the transmission looked iffy, but it wasn't until we got her home and started digging in that we saw the full horror story. Right where the bell housing is supposed to cradle the transmission, it was torn wide open, like someone had stabbed through steel and cracked its heart. I could see the gear ring. You're not supposed to see the gear ring. We took a closer look and, yep, the transmission had completely separated from the engine. The whole thing had dropped down like it had given up on life. From the marks, it looked like someone had lifted the car with a forklift and rammed right into the bottom. The drive shaft, bent like a pretzel, bolts, snapped clean off. It was brutal. And this was no ordinary van. It's one of those rare American V8 beasts. Normally, the engines on these are bulletproof. But here, the transmission casing looked like it had been through a war. And that clean brake, that only happens when someone forces it. We tried to stay hopeful, took the whole thing apart inch by inch. After 2 solid hours of wrestling bolts, lifting metal, and biting back curses, we got the transmission out. For a second, I thought maybe, just maybe, we could fix it. But no, this one's toast. Unrepairable. Beyond hope. Fragments from the bell housing were everywhere. The gearbox was cracked through its soul. Even if I found parts, which, let's be real, is nearly impossible for an 80s Dodge in this condition, they'd be mismatched. This isn't just a repair, it's a resurrection. So yeah, we've got no choice. We're going to have to hunt down an entirely new transmission. for an 80s American van in 2025. In China, wish me luck. This one's going to test everything I've got. But you know what? That's why I love it. Guys, today was a big one. After 8 long years of chasing ghosts, begging every parts dealer from here to the ends of the country, I finally got my hands on a used transmission for this van. Can you believe it? A legit used gearbox that actually fits this beast. Honestly, I was beyond excited. Couldn't wait to bolt it on. My little assistant, the one with the hat, yeah, him, was ready with tools before I could even say, go. We always dream about finding hidden gems, right? This time it felt real. The guy I bought it from swore it was good, said, "It'll work, guaranteed." The condition looked decent too, not showroom perfect, but better than I dared to hope. The old one? Totally toast. This one? It had a fighting chance, so we threw it in. Now here's the thing. When you're restoring old machines, money can buy parts, but it can't buy relationships. Sometimes you gotta humble yourself. Call in favors, ask for help, swallow your pride. That's the unspoken currency in this game. Anyway, we finally got that transmission in. I could feel the weight lift off my chest. For nights I couldn't even sleep thinking about it. It's been a ride, but then another punch in the gut, punch in. The original Driveshaft. Yeah, that was gone too. So we hunted down a new one. Thought it'd be plug and play. Nope. It was 4 centimeters too long. No time to return it. No time to look for another. So you know what we did? We adapted, we cut, we modified, and we made it fit. One problem solved and another one pops up. That's the rhythm of the wrench. With the transmission and drive shaft finally in place, we turned our attention to the engine. Please let this part go smoothly. Step 1, clear out the decades of dust, grime, and grease. Blow it all out. Strip away the old, clean the core, remove the intake, get to the bones and take a deep breath. The silence in that moment, that's the sound of hope. The moment I popped open the intake, I knew something was off. At first glance, the manifold looked surprisingly clean. Too clean. That's when I knew. Carbon buildup. Thick layers of it everywhere. If the intake was this clogged, you can imagine what the other valves look like. So yeah, I didn't take any chances. We stripped the whole engine down. You could actually see the engine in 2 different colors. That's never a good sign. We pulled off the PCV system and oil separator tubing. Didn't want any of that nasty old oil creeping back into the block. This engine hadn't been started in ages. The internals were dry and stiff, like it had been waiting in silence for years. So we soaked it, coated the cylinders with oil, made sure everything was lubed up, pulled the battery. It was rusted and stuck in place like it didn't want to leave. Gave that area a proper scrub too. Next, fresh motor oil, slow cranked by hand. just to be sure. Then came the moment. We hooked up a fully charged battery, one deep breath, and turned the key. Smooth. Almost too smooth. Cranked her again, this time with real intent. And there it was. A hum, a spark, a whisper that grew into a heartbeat. She was alive. No knocking, no rattling. Oil pressure held steady. Engine sounded healthy, surprisingly healthy for something that had been abandoned for years. Our motto held true once again: if it turns, it burns. Time to move forward. We swapped in new spark plugs, new tires all around, fresh rubber to carry fresh life. But it wasn't over. The fuel system, full of junk. We drained the tank, flushed the lines, and cleaned every inch of the system. The old fuel was reddish-brown, completely degraded. New fuel in, primed the lines, reinstalled the upper hoses. One more turn of the key, boom, she purred. Idle, rock steady, like she never skipped a beat. Now, with the new transmission installed, fuel system cleared, and engine breathing easy, it's time to take her on the road. Let's go. She started up beautifully. After all the sweat, busted knuckles, and long nights, she roared to life. The new transmission? Smooth as silk. Brakes? Responsive and tight. It's that moment you live for. The moment when it all just works. I can't describe it any better than this. Pure joy. That deep, satisfying kind of joy that only comes when you've poured your soul into something, and it finally gives back. Now it's time to give her a proper cleanup. She deserves it. We started with the exterior. That rear end? Yeah, it's gonna need a full repaint. Years of sun and scratches left their marks. We're planning a complete respray. Make her shine like she did back in the 80s. But first, the wash. The dirt inside and out was unreal. Layers of grime, forgotten time, and memories sealed in dust. It took patience, but inch by inch, we scrubbed her down. My buddy, who's basically family at this point, was right there with me. We've shared a lot of builds, but this one felt special. Once the exterior got some love, we turned to the interior. And man, that deep red, it's stunning. Under all that dust was a color that pops. It's not just a van anymore. It's a time capsule. You can feel the character in every detail. We're not done yet, but today she came back to life. After a solid day of scrubbing and a whole lot of elbow grease from my trusty assistant, the interior finally came together. And wow, it turned out better than I hoped. Clean, vibrant, absolutely beautiful. Just look at those rear seats, practically glowing. We reinstalled the classic red interior back into the Dodge van. Some folks messaged me asking, "Hey, you kept 4 of those seats. What are you doing with them?" Well, I'm keeping one for myself as my office chair. The other 2, maybe future builds. See, I've made a decision. I'm only going to restore 4 cars a year. That's it. Time is short, energy is limited, and not every vehicle deserves the same spotlight. So I'm focusing only on the meaningful ones, the ones that speak to me. I've been thinking about tackling a first-gen G-Feng truck, or maybe something wild like a classic Huangda van. The temptation is real. Every time I walk past the yard, I see a dozen more calling my name, but I can't save them all. Not because I don't want to, but because I know what it takes: patience, focus, and a whole lot of heart and money. Let's be honest, passion doesn't pay for paint jobs. Each car behind me tells a story. Some are waiting their turn, some might never get it. That's why I keep saying, put your limited time into the cars that matter. You don't just fix a car, you bond with it. And if you're going to give it life again, you better do it with pride, not half-heartedly. Some of these will end up on film sets, rented out for their era-specific charm. Others will stay with me. But one thing's for sure, this journey between me and these old machines, it's far from over.